Hey kids, it's Kass. Today we're doing 5 hats you can buy modernly that you can wear with your vintage wardrobe. Stay tuned. Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about 5 hats or 5 hat shapes you can wear with your vintage wardrobe. And the first hat shape we have is, of course, cloches. This is a page from the Sears catalog from 1920 showing a wide variety of cloches, and you can see just how many different hat shapes this involves. The cloche was worn from the early 1920s well through the 30s. It could even be argued that it was worn into the 40s if you define a cloche a little more loosely. Cloches came back in the 60s, but they were worn kind of higher on the head and not as low on the brow as they were worn in the 20s. So you can still find cloches in vintage shops that aren't really that old. I'm going to show you a variety of cloches because there are asymmetrical cloches, there are fur felt cloches, there are straw cloches, there are cloches that tip out like a bucket, there are cloches that are close to the face, and they're all really good for different vintage looks. Find the one that looks best on your head and buy them. I said 5. I clearly meant 4. Another hat, it's not so popular as you think it might be. It's the fedora. I'm showing you a picture of a woman's fedora from 1934 from a Sears catalog. Now, women's fedoras weren't quite the same as men's. They tended to be smaller. Women didn't wear the fedora fully on their head, pulled down towards their ears like men did. They wore them kind of sitting on top of their heads, on top of their hairstyles, more importantly. These were very popular in the 1930s, well through the 40s, to the end of the 40s, maybe a little bit in the 50s, but they did get smaller and became more like hair ornaments. Here's a fedora. Ah, the Pillbox. Here's a picture of a Pillbox from 1939. A Pillbox is basically any hat that sits up on your head and usually is attached to your hairstyle with pins and has this little bit of veil that you can see through. It's your classic widow's hat, although it's not always a widow's hat. It's just how we perceive it. Women wore these on days when they were quite happy. I don't know why I said widow's hat. I just said widow's hat. This style of hat is very, very vintage looking. And it ends up being more of a part of your hairstyle than it is really a part of your wardrobe. You definitely don't take it off once you get it in its right place. Here's a pillbox. This next one might surprise you. It's a beret. As you can see in this picture from the 1937 Sears catalog, berets were very popular and they were worn a number of different ways. Berets were popular from the 1920s through the 1950s. They're still popular today. Here's me in a beret. If I start singing Raspberry Beret, will Prince's people come and sue me for copyright infringement? The great thing about a beret is you can wear it a number of different ways. The slopped over to the side look, the poofy, I'm a Catholic schoolgirl look. If you have a stiffer beret, you can do that SAS stiff soldier look. Very versatile, come in all kinds of colors. They match everything. Our last hat isn't really a hat. It's a turban. This is a Sears catalog page from 1940. I've found them as early as the 20s and as late as the 60s. These turbans that this catalog is advertising are made up to be like that. So you put them on your head like a hat. But You can tie a scarf like any of these turbans and wear that and be perfectly vintage. I'm not going to show you me in a turban because I look stupid in a turban. And that's the simple fact of it. But you're on YouTube, go Google turban tying or vintage head wraps or vintage scarves. There are wonderful, wonderful women who look terrific in a headscarf who will show you how to tie them in many elaborate ways. And they're all probably going to be great for you. They're just not great for me. Well, that's it. This has been 5 vintage hats that you can wear every day. I'm Kass from Reconstructing History by Reconstructing History Patterns. Please like our video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Come to patreon.com/reconstructinghistory and become our patron so we can keep doing this. And go be vintage.